but for young people, Ruben, I remember being 19, going to, I'm sorry, being, yeah, 18, 19, going to college, and they had these desks, I mean, these tables in front of the school, and you could get a credit card. I remember getting my first one. It was $500. Dude, I maxed that out as soon as I could.
Welcome, everybody. Today on the show, we're discussing the Yahoo article titled Jaw-Dropping Stats About the State of Debt in America. And there are some very fascinating stats about this. Did you know that half of Americans need credit cards to cover essential living expenses?
It's nuts.
Did you hear that people just live off them? I mean, people are just 29% max out their credit card every month. And so this is a problem. And there are adults that just kind of think it's free money. I have a friend who opened up these credit cards and maxed them out right away because he didn't understand the basic problem of credit card debt. And so it's eating people's lives up. It's destroying them. A lot of people don't know something very basic as this. Something that I actually was taught by my parents, our parents, is that low credit impacts your ability to purchase things. I was taught that. I'm not saying my parents sat down and told me how to invest and talked about portfolios and stocks, but they at least taught me that, and I knew not to get into bad credit. Did you know that, Jacob? Not to get into bad credit?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that, but I didn't practice it in my adult life. But I knew it.
At least if you know it, you know the importance of getting out of it, and if you fall into it. And so to keep your eyes on this. I guess I'm going to turn it over to you and ask what you thought of this, what stood out to you in this article. But I will say that more and more I'm talking to adults who will say the following to me, including a woman I recently told me this, that she has nothing. She's about to turn 40 and she has no savings, no significant savings. So, I don't mean $10,000 in your savings account when you're 40. I mean retirement, something to lean back when you can no longer work. I have talked to 3 people, 60, Jacob, or near 60, so even worse than her,
Jeez.
who said they have nothing. But maybe in the future they'll save for that. And they don't realize the future is now. Is there any speak to that problem maybe, and also speak to anything in the article that stood out
Yeah.
to you?
Well, a couple things. The article was great but I think you and I understand that it wasn't surprising. A lot of Americans are underwater, and they, instead of dealing with that debt they have, they continue to add. It's a snowball, and that's a Dave Ramsey term, right? You just start snowballing your debt, and it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think I don't know the exact amount. It was over $5,000. They mentioned in an article that 60% of Americans are in debt, and they're about $5,000 in debt. The minimum, we're talking, I'm sorry, not the minimum, but the average, right? And there's some who are much more in debt and some less. But that's just when I read that, I thought of a time, Ruben, when I was definitely struggling and paying things with credit cards, and thank God now today I don't have any credit debt at all. But there was a time where I did, and I shared that with my students once. I mean, this is where you and I may disagree. That I shared that one time I was in a lot of debt. And how did I get through it? I went to one of these Dave Ramsey courses, right? Financial peace, to have some peace and a strategy and how to do it. You and I have a stepfather who's really good with finances, and he's been on budgets, and he's done budgets and so forth. And he's talked to us about having these envelopes where you put money in. And Dave Ramsey's done that as well. And so Kim and I went to this, this workshop, I guess you could call it, for like a week. And then we learned so much strategy. And one of the things I brought to my students, Ruben, is this budget. He calls this a budget where you can just get out of debt so you won't have snowfall. He calls it a monthly cash flow plan. If you go online, you could download that plan. So I go through with my students. I tell them first a little bit, and I don't tell them everything about my past. I just say, hey, I got into a situation where I was in debt. And instead of snowballing to increase, I started hitting one credit card at a time. And right. And that's one of the big advice pieces. Hey, hit one credit card at a time. And then eventually you'll have no cards and stop using them like you were in the past. Stop doing things. I live a little different life now because I'm older, but when I was younger, I thought I was, I was spending money like I was a millionaire, which I wasn't. And so I that's what I stress. And I go through this budget plan, Ruben, and I say, hey, I ask one of the students, anybody have a job? And they'll tell me, hey, yeah, I make $1,000 a month. Okay, let's use you if that's okay, as an example. And so we go through this budget plan, put some money away for savings, put some money away for gasoline, because that's what they use, right? Put some money away for if there's a utility they help mom and dad with, put that money away. And we look at what they have left over. And I always share with them, you always have to have some money left over for yourself, called pocket money. Because why work if you're not going to have a little pocket money? And decide what that amount's going to be. Kim and I, we've changed it over the years, how much that will be. And I say that $150, whatever it is, Kim, you could spend it on whatever you want. And I will never question you. You don't question me how I spend my 150. And there was a time where I bought a lot of hamburgers. I'm not trying to do that anymore. But anyway, so yeah, we spend that 150 or whatever it is a month. But all the rest of that money, every dollar is supposed to go somewhere. So I do this in economics with my seniors, Ruben. So they look at this budget, and I give every kid a budget, and we go through it, and it goes through the credit card, and then we talk about credit cards and the whole plan of hitting one card at a time. So that snowball will decrease. And how about live a life where you do the opposite? You're snowballing the opposite way, where you're increasing your future, because you mentioned that 60-year-olds, 65-year-olds are retiring without no money, right? And so why not snowball the opposite, where you're investing and you're giving to your charities, but you're also investing into your future, into your retirement. And the kids see that, and I speak truth to them. I say, my life is totally changed now. It's nice to go to sleep, Ruben, and not worry about your debt, not worry about how am I going to pay those credit cards when they're all taken care of. And I share that with him. Yeah, you're 18, 19, but why not be a millionaire? If you just put a little money away, $120, can't remember the amount, I think it's like $130 a month. By the time you're 35, you're gonna be a millionaire. You do that
So
every month. It starts
I'm just trying to
snowballing.
I'm just trying to understand what you're trying to say. If I could just say it in a
Yeah,
few quick pieces, because it's a lot of information
it
you're
is.
sharing to understand, to grasp it. You're saying that you don't want your debt to snowball where you can't control it
Correct.
anymore. How do you do that? Take care of one credit card at a time,
Yes, sir.
is thing, and put a certain percentage of your income away. Is that what you're
If you
saying?
can. So sometimes you can't do it right away. Maybe even if it's $10, always put something away for the future. If it's a savings account or if it's in an investment, maybe you're putting it in a 401k, whatever it is, even if it's small, it has to be something. $10, $20. And until you get to a place where you can put $40 in there, $50 in there, and you start seeing that snowball in the positive and helping you in your future.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, to pay off your credit cards and to put
Sure.
money away. I know that I'm just not Mr. Dave Ramsey. I'm not anti Dave Ramsey either.
Sure.
I guess for me, the only thing I would say though is I would definitely underscore the idea of there is a future awaiting you in which there's going to be a time where you may not be able to work because you might be sick or you might get a catastrophic expense. Then what? So I think if you think, so we talk about
Yeah.
universal design and backwards, backwards design, you work from
Backwards
the end
planning. Yeah.
planning. What's the end game here? What can you see a future in which this might happen? Look at that future and invest there. So I would say, oh, you got to put money away now for your future. And it's not touchable. You don't put money out, and then you have a savings where you can emergency, and you get just into the habit. Like anything else, it's a habit. But
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I think people wonder, they want to put like 200, 300 when you're 18, 19 years. No, just put 10, $20 at first. You'll build up to that, because then they're frustrated, like, oh, I'm never going to have. No. You'll be surprised how that money adds up. When you look at it in a couple of years, you go, oh, wow,
you
I didn't
wouldn't
know I
do
saved $5,000.
you wouldn't do a percentage though, or like a
Oh, no, you do. Because you look at whatever this is what David said,
$10 doesn't. I'll be honest, the $10 doesn't sound like you're going to go anywhere.
but it's better than nothing. What I'm saying, why I want,
Yeah.
can I tell you why? $10 better than nothing, because what if you have to pay all this debt first? If you're in
Yeah,
debt, if you're not in debt, if you're a young person, yeah, put some more in there. And I always tell my students this, Ruben, is don't get a credit card. Period. If you can get one, you pay it off every month. And I would say don't do that. I think our sister never got a credit card. I think she,
I don't know. I don't. How do you build credit without a credit card?
well, there's other ways to build credit. You could buy furniture at a store and then make payments that way. But
I,
you're right
I,
though. If you want to do one card, that's fine.
I
But
am. I don't know.
try
Maybe
not
I'm
to.
crazy, but in our system, maybe this is a little bit of a disagreement we have. I would get a credit card if you can do it responsibly and just pay it off. If you look at a credit card like this,
Mhm.
I'm getting my credit card to build credit, not to purchase things. It's a very reframing of the brain. What I'm saying, you're not buying it to getting it to buy things. You're just building your credit. Every month you pay it back. You're just building that
Can I
up.
just say something? You and I think that way because we're at our age and we've had a past, and at least I have. And I think you're more responsible than me. But but because of that, I could say that I pay off my card every month, the one card I have. But for young people, Ruben, I remember being 19 going to I'm sorry, being not yeah, 18, 19 going to college, and they had these desks, I mean these tables in front of the school, and you could get a credit card. I remember getting my first one. It was $500. Dude, I maxed that out as soon as I could. And I
Yeah,
think
but
young people aren't as
yeah,
responsible.
yeah, but Jake, we're in the business. We're in the business of raising standards.
Sure.
I'm not gonna tell my student you're 19, you're stupid, and I'm obviously not gonna say stupid, but you're a silly 19-year-old, 18-year-old. You're not gonna do the mature thing. No, you say you want to be a winner,
Right.
and this is how you be a winner in life. Build your credit. You're gonna pay it back.
I
And
can I
if you
just
don't,
say this? Can we agree differently? Like for example, I would say yes, build credit, but don't do it with a card first. I would say encourage them. Don't do it with a card first. Do it with another way. Buy a car and have it under your name as well. And make payments to that car. That's a way of that's credit, earning credit. And then in time, maybe you hit your late 20s, yeah, get a car, but be responsible to make that payment every month. But we're saying every month, like you're at zero balance at the end, so you don't have to have anything on your, that's negative. So I don't know. Yeah, it's a difference of opinion, but I really don't think kids should have credit cards at 18, 19, 20 years old, personally. I don't care
well,
who they are.
that's it depends on what they're making. Most kids, you're right. Most young people, you're right. They probably can't afford it. They maybe a small credit card of 300 bucks, and that's it. I was gonna say though too is there's a lot to this because I'm not sure about the system that we have anyway, if it's the most healthy and how we run things. There, you get a job and you wait for 30 years, 40 years, then you get the pension and then what? Like there are opportunities for students to invest. So when I talk to students, I mean, I'm not saying you're disagreeing with this, but there are ways to put money in that you don't feel it. There are apps that you could, every time you spend money, it goes right into investments, stocks and bonds and things like that. Crypto, if that's your thing. So I don't know. I agree, put money away, but also there's these other opportunities to invest
Good
that
point.
I think you're right. $10 at a time, and it's that you can't feel it, and it's not that big of a deal. And eventually it increases over time.
Yeah, and know, our kids, they have different kinds. Some of them just have like babysitting jobs. I'm saying even if it's 10, I don't care if it's a babysitting job, put five, $10. Now, when you get another job, it ups it 20, 30%. And if you talk about percentages, I always try to tell the kids, put 10% away of your whatever your paycheck is for savings. I do, I know you and I, we put money away for charities or church, right? Put that 10%. So you have these 10% that you're dealing with. And then you have, like I said, Kim and I don't have a lot of money that we go blow, but we do have our blowing money, and we just spend it, and we're okay with it because we worked hard, and we say, hey, this is the little money we have that we get to have fun with, and do that. Have a little fun too, because you work hard, and you should have a place where you look forward to, like, oh, I have this little money. I'm going to go on a little trip, or I'm going to do this. I think you need that.
Yeah, because we don't want them to be part of that 50% of America who are using credit cards to cover their living expenses.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a real big issue in the future. And because I share with the kids, the reason why we have interest rates that are really high is because banks lend out this money to these people. They get credit cards, and then they go bankrupt, and then the banks go, well, we got to get the money somewhere, so we're going to up the interest rates. That's what they do. Banks always get their money somehow. They may not get it from you because you went bankrupt, but they're going to get it from everyone else who has to pay higher interest rates because these people went bankrupt. So yeah, I
But
mean,
but they're not taught this,
no,
the intricacies of how the banking system works and what credit is. And they're thinking free money. I don't want to,
no, we have a lesson on credit cards for sure. It's
but
important to go through it.
that's why I tell them, well, that's why I was expressing the importance of teaching them how to think about credit cards, as
Good.
opposed to saying, well, they're too young to, they could make wise decisions if we teach them some of these issues, you know.
No, good
Um,
point.
but it's interesting. Um, I hope you don't fall into debt, people. And like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Pod and Deliver. Bye bye.